Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another great time. We're going to have fun. You've got the wonderful Money Coach Mary RN, myself, and we have our special guest today that I'm going to tell you, this is going to be one that you won't want to miss because this is going to be off the chain. We have Chip Bailey going to be just sitting around the table, and we're going to just be finding our place at the table. We all love to eat, especially when you're fat like me. And so finding the place that has the most meat closest to the most food, that's the best place for me, right? So Chip, welcome to the wonderful, crazy podcast that we're going to be talking about today. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Good to be here. Thank you, David and Mary, for having me on today. Looking forward to the conversation ahead.
Yeah, it's going to be wild, but we're just going to chill, we're going to have fun, and who knows where this is going to go. That's the nice thing about being live and unscripted and raw, right, Mary?
Yes, sir. We love it that way. We're
So
authentic.
I know, Chip, I've known you for quite some time. We've met in a lot of different meetings, and you've always had a great knack at bringing things together. Uh, Matter of fact, I believe you are one of the first people that were instrumental in myself as I was new into a new style of coaching. I've been coaching since 97, but I believe I met you in 2021, maybe 22. And you were one of the first people in the new coaching style that I was doing. And I always love our talks. We had some great talks.
Cool. Looking forward to it. You've got a good memory on dates and times. I'm not that good at the dates and times. I remember conversations, but I'd be curious to know what stuck to you most. What stood out to you most about those conversations?
Well, it was funny because the very first conversation we had together, you were telling me the things to and not to do and what to look forward to. And I remember when you first were talking to me, I'm just like, no, no, no. Okay, I can do that. No, no. You remember that
So
conversation?
well, I not entirely, but I don't remember. I usually ask questions, and that's usually how I go. But there was a time, and that probably was a good point because I used to think you had to tell. If you want to be a good coach, you have to tell people what to do, the what, right? Tell people you got to do it this way. Here's the steps. Here's the answer to your question. And I learned though early on that I needed to be the guide and not the hero. I needed to let them be the hero. In order to do that, the way I've done it now the last several years is I ask a lot of questions. I'll ask 100 questions in a conversation typically. And that's what makes this conversation a little bit different. I told you earlier, I'm used to asking the question, or down south, as we say, I'm used to asking the questions, and so this is a little different process for me to do it. But I've learned to ask questions, David, and that helps unearth a lot of things in the conversation,
Yes, it does.
history, background. What I've learned is that if you will let them, people will talk. And the more they talk, they tell you about themselves. They tell you about their background. They'll even tell you, without even knowing it, they'll tell you about their challenges and circumstances. And then you'll unearth why they're stuck. And then once you learn those kinds of things, where they're stuck, what's causing them to be in a quagmire, if you will, you can absolutely then help them in a better way. And that's how I work a little bit. There was more asking questions. It sounds like maybe I hadn't quite gotten there in our one of our earlier conversations there because I stopped
Earlier,
telling. I have a book that's going, not a book, but I have a blog entry that's called "Ask, Don't Tell,"
hmm
and that kind of was where I turned the corner.
yeah. Now, do you like the movie Star Wars?
I remember it. I went to it when it was out originally in the theaters. Yeah,
hmm
yeah.
So I like to place us coaches as Yoda,
Okay,
and the people that come to us is Luke. We are the guide for the champion to help him get on his path.
okay.
The leader of the leaders. We guide them to be the hero that they're to be. Because if you remember, Yoda actually helped Luke before he was even a Jedi. The
Okay.
Force
All
is
right.
strong
Yeah,
with you. It is,
it
kind
is.
of guided him beforehand. So, and that's why one of the things I loved about you is you do have that knack, right? Um, Diving into the right questions, just listening. A lot of
Mm,
times when they speak, one of my favorite questions is, hmm, tell me more about that.
yeah.
I like to go 7 levels deep, dig in
Yeah.
deep. Tell me deeper, tell me more. There's one thing, a song, Tell Me More, Tell Me More. I think it's back in the 50s, 60s, somewhere in that rare. And it's just dig in, right? Speaking of which, we're talking about finding a place at the table. Now, I know this isn't really what it is, but dig into that food. Well, the conversation is the food, right? Because
Yeah.
it's the food of the
Absolutely.
mind.
Yeah.
So, speaking of that, since you said that you love to ask the questions, what is the deepest question that you love asking?
You're going to be surprised because I don't think it's about asking deep questions per se, because then that makes it feel like you've got to be ethereal, right? You got to be some guru. You got to be something special. I think, though, the most profound questions are oftentimes the most simple questions. Or, as you pointed out, the question that often doesn't have a question mark behind it. Tell me more.
Mhm.
Tell me more about that. I one of the questions I will ask more than anything else. Let's say I'm doing a consultation. I will ask 100 questions in a consultation. I've actually stick manned it out where it's 100 questions, and that's what I typically do. 25 or 30 of those questions will be the same one, and it's 3 words, and it simply says, "And what else?"
Mhm.
And so if you're telling me, if I'm saying, well, what do you want to, what's on your mind today? What do you want to get out of this meeting? Well, I want to know how to get out of debt. Great. And what else? Well, I want to know how to save a down payment for a new house in 5 years. Great. What else? And continue to go on. And what happens with it, the deeper that people go, they take themselves deeper. And then after number 7 or 8, what I've learned is you let them talk and you start to pull it out of them by simple questions like, and what else? They will tell you really what's the problem. What is their challenge? What is the reason that they're stuck? And you'll learn those things, or you'll learn about their dreams. Oftentimes, people will well up in their eyes because you're then getting to some areas that are really deep, and you haven't asked anything but and what else?
Mhm.
And what else? I like to take people on a journey through their dreams. Yogi Berra was a coach for the Yankees. He managed the Yankees for many years. And I like to, Yogi has yogi-isms. He was one of those old school guys. I mean, really old school. He's gone now. But Yogi used to say this: if you don't know where you're going, you'll likely end up someplace else.
Mhm.
And so I like to find out where you are, and I like to find out where you want to go. If we can figure out those two things, it's just a matter of building a roadmap to get to where you want to go. And so what I do is I ask people, where do you want to be in 5 years? Where do you want to be in 10? And as they tell me, I say, and what else? I want to build a house. Great. And what else? I want to move to the country. Great. And what else? I'd like to have animals. I say, great. What kind of animals? And then you're getting into that what else, do they really get down to the core of what's really bothering them or what their real dreams are. And if you can help convince them to find out what it is that their dreams are, you can help them get there.
That's fascinating. I love that. I use that a lot too. It's always it's not a, it's a different version of the tell me more because the and what else opens it right up because they go, well, well, this. And then, oh, well, this. And that's where we glean a lot of our information so that we can help our clients.
There are some other tools that I use, and there's a great book out called Never Split the Difference. It's on my
Mhm.
shelf. It's one
It's
of
a
my top 10 reads of all
great
time.
book.
Yeah.
And some of the things that I use there, and it's a matter of getting people to talk. As I said earlier, if you ask them to talk and you ask them about their story, they'll tell you. We all like to talk about ourselves, about our successes, about our challenges, about our kids, about our church, whatever that is, right? We all like to talk. And, I could say to you, for example, David, it sounds like you have a real affinity for doing podcasts. You're going to start telling me about podcasts. Mary, it sounds to me like you have a very interesting background in nursing. Generally, you're going to respond to that and keep going along those lines. It seems like, it sounds like, it
Mhm.
looks like. Those are
Mhm.
three things that you can use with people to continue the conversation, much like, and what else, or tell me more.
Yeah, I used a lot of those. It's like, I guess I've learned from the best
Yeah.
because these are all things that I use.
Hmm. Yeah, and one of the things is like after you just get done telling me something really great. So what I hear you saying,
Mhm.
you know,
Right.
and well, yeah, that's pretty much. Well, can you expand a little bit more?
Yeah.
Just make sure you get. Well, no, that's not quite what I'm saying. Well, clarify a little bit. You know, um, how do you get to that point? How do you come up with that? What is your vantage point? Things that just pull things out. We don't want to
Yeah.
direct them, but we want to direct them.
Right.
We want to guide them, but they have it inside of them. You know, we know what we like to eat, we know what we like to do, and just make that connection, right? I love how you said you ask 100 questions in your consultation.
Mhm.
Your consultation is the most important thing. If you can
Mhm.
connect the person in the consultation, I like to take the first half hour and just dig into them, find out as much as I can find out about them. Speak as little as possible, but pull as much information out.
Yeah.
So those 2, 3 word questions, I ask a lot of them. I've never counted them, so it'd be interesting if I do close to 100. But I love going as deep as I can go, as much as I can go, because the more I find out about you now, in the next 15 minutes is where I connect you to me. And if I connect you to me, I've got you sold.
There are, I believe there's what I call a four-pronged approach in a consultation or a meeting. I had one this happening, not a consultation. I'll tell you about that one in a few minutes, but it's based on four things. I want to build rapport. I want
Mhm.
to build trust. Then I can build confidence, and then I can inject hope.
Mhm.
And I kind of fashion it like this. Most of you are familiar with Samaritan's Purse,
Mhm.
Franklin Graham's ministry. They usually go into disaster areas where there's been a hurricane, where there's been a fire, where there's been an earthquake, something like that. What do they do when they go into these areas? What is their goal? They want to help you see Christ, right? They have a mission, right? But what do they do first? They go in and they build rapport. Tell us how you're doing, what's going on. Then they build that trust. They bring you food. They bring you clothing. They bring you water. They give you shelters for a little bit. They're building that trust, right? What does that do? That builds confidence between me and you. And
Mhm.
then after some time, after they built that rapport, they built that trust, and that confidence is double. The walls have gone down, and guess what?
Yeah.
Then they can sit down with a Bible, which is what they want to do. They can sit down with a track. They can sit down and tell you what their real mission is. But it comes after they build that rapport, they build that trust, and they build that confidence.
It was the same thing like in my networking groups. We always say the same thing. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. Is the same thing
Right.
on a different scale.
To
Still the
say,
same goal.
Chip, I have to say, one of your favorite fans, the Hawaiian guy that loves to surf waves, Mr. Aaron, is here and he wants to say aloha to you.
Okay.
So, since that was brought to the table, I know Aaron's going to be asking a great question for you. So, I'm
Uh-oh.
going to put him on the spot right now and say, got to pull up that good question. So, just had to say that.
Sure.
I love
So
putting
is he?
challenges out there.
Oh, he's preparing the question. Or are you gonna do that now?
Oh
Yeah.
no, he's gonna bring the next question up. I mean, we'll still
Okay.
talk to you, but
Okay.
we're gonna make him come up with a good question.
All right. As I told you earlier, I'm not used to being on this side of the microphone. I'm used to asking the questions. So we'll see. We'll see what kind of answer, how quick I can be on my feet.
I'm sure you'll do good. You always
You
seem
should be
like a guy
fine.
that can come up with answers like this.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, right. We're gonna find out.
You've been doing great so far.
All right. Well, we're what, 15 minutes in, so we only got 45 minutes for three more quarters to go here. So first quarter, we've done okay.
Or if we're in hockey,
Wait
we
till we
only
get
have
down to the
three
2 minute
periods.
warning, then we'll we'll be fishing a little bit.
Or if we're hockey, we only have three periods.
There you go. All right, right. There's a halftime, right, coming up here a little bit.
Yes, there is a halftime coming up in a little bit.
All right,
And
cool.
speaking of which, and I know this is off topic, but since you brought up quarters, I'm going to bring up the Pistons, the
Okay.
number one team in basketball. Do you watch basketball?
I'm not a basketball fan. I played basketball in high school. It was my sport along with baseball. I'm more of a baseball fan, and I wrote for the Houston Chronicle for several years, and so I'm more of a baseball fan at this point. Basketball for me changed in the last 30
Mhm.
years, and so I've kind of lost. I'm more of a strategic guy. You go back to Dean Smith at North Carolina, the four quarters offense back in probably 40 years ago, I guess. There was more strategy involved there, more process. You had to think. There's not much thinking. You just drive the ball down and shoot it from wherever you are, 30, 50 feet. It doesn't matter anymore. That's not much of a sport for me anyway.
hmm You know,
Right.
when I was younger, I used to play street ball. There is no
Yeah,
rules. You get in my face,
yeah,
I'm going to push you out. But I kind of
right.
got fat, and I don't have the energy to kind of like run and shoot. So I don't play basketball no more. And
Yeah.
so but yeah, see, here we'll talk about anything and everything, right, Mary?
Yep. It's all unscripted.
And that's the best part of it.
Well,
So
go to
you,
basketball if you want to. I'm baseball, football. I am sports guys. I like the Saints from being from the South. I'm an Astros fan, quite obviously, as you can probably pick up there. But we lived in the Colorado area for a little while. My wife loves Denver, and so I'm a big LSU fan. I will tell you that. So don't talk trash about Alabama or anything like that. So
well,
I'm a big
Go
Tigers
Alabama is
Tigers
fan.
one of the
too.
worst. No, I'm just kidding.
Go Tigers.
So speaking of digging things up, let's dig up some good topics.
Okay.
Now, you mentioned some great reads, and Don't Split the Difference and Atomic Habits is one of the two best books.
Yep.
But
Right.
you also kind of trickled, kind of messaged about books that you are writing and books that you have in publications right now.
Yeah.
Out of the books that you have, what is your favorite book that you wrote?
Um, there's a book that came out last year that I believe so far is my best effort in writing. I've written over 15 or 1600 blog entries over the year. I've written countless numbers of emails, spoken around, and done other things. But I wrote a book called Beyond the Noise last year. Bill Brown, who's the former play-by-play announcer for the Houston Astros, wrote the foreword for me. Just happened to have a copy, but you can get this at Amazon. It was an Amazon #1 bestseller, and that's probably the book that I wrote. It's called Beyond the Noise: 10 Timeless Truths for a Life of Unshakable Purpose.
So,
It's
what is
about cutting through all the
unshakable?
distractions and all the overwhelming things to hear what actually matters, taking a pause, just cutting out all of the noise around you because the world is loud, guys. You know that. I mean, there's
Oh
things
yeah.
coming at you from every single direction now, and you've got conviction and all these kind of things that are happening around you, all the politics, all of the social media and things like that. And what happens is we lose our edge
Mm.
when we stop listening to the right voices.
So, if I
Right.
And
can
so
ask
beyond the
you,
noise helps you cut through all of that.
So if I can ask you, in your words, what is the unshakable purpose?
The unshakable purpose is being able to live the life that you design, not what everybody else tells you you should be doing.
So what
Your
is
purpose
your
is to be the best you that you can be.
so what is your unshakable purpose?
My unshakable purpose is if you go to my website, which you can see at newbeginningstexas.com, you're going to see part of what I'm all about. You were made for more. When you go to the website, you'll see it. You were made for more than this. I will tell you that connection changes everything.
Mm.
There's a table that has your name on it. And what I'm even coming more and more into, guys, lately is helping you find your table. The next book that I have coming out, it'll be coming out here in the next few weeks, as a matter of fact. It's called Wired to Connect.
Mm.
The subtitle is you were not meant to do life alone. So what problem that I solve, which is what I help clients with all the time, is what problem you solve. I help solve the problem of disconnection. Help you reconnected to God, help you get reconnected to your passion, reconnected if you're in financial failure, reconnected to your purpose, reconnected to your why.
Well, one thing I have
And
for
so,
you, you mentioned
uh
about the table, finding the
yeah,
table for you, and you
right.
mentioned reconnecting you. So reconnect me to my table. What does my table look like? Because you know
Your
a little bit
table,
about
David,
me.
is what's that?
You know a little bit about me. So,
Well, but you know what? It's not that I need to know about you. It's that you need to know about you
mhm.
because you need to understand who you are and why you're here. It's not about me telling you, hey, here's 1, 2, 3 steps to get there. The thing is I want to be able to help you identify what your purpose is. I want to help you. I think it was John Mason that says you were born an original, don't
Mm.
die a copy. One of my favorite quotes all time, if not my favorite quote of all time, because it really hits home with,
Yeah, sure does.
we're made by other people. We're told what we need to do. We're told we have to go through this way. I used to would tell people, guys, that, you know, go out and take a little bit from here, take a little bit from this guy, take a little bit from that person, a little bit from that, and you make it your own. No, I've come to realize and understand that's wrong.
Mhm.
I don't need to take anything from David or Mary or Justin or Bill or Josh or Susie. I need to find out who I am. I need to understand what my purpose is. And because I have a purpose, I have a table that I need to be at. I wrote a book several years ago called Your Fab Five, the 5 people you need in your life. This book is more about Wired to Connect. It's more about finding your table, where you are, who the people are around you. Because here's the reality: we're wired by design for connection. It's not a preference; it's how we're built.
Correct.
But we live in the loneliest generation in history. That's not Chip's words.
Absolutely.
That's John Baloney's words.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
It's also the words of the Surgeon General back in 2023.
so
He
that
didn't
brings up a
mince
good
words
question
back
for me.
then. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So why are people stuck, and how do they get unstuck? And this is actually from Matt Wally.
Okay. All right. Well, people, hey Matt, I'm sorry to say good to see you, good to hear your voice. I didn't do either, but it's good to hear your name tonight. How do you get unstuck? That's a great question. You have to understand your purpose first. You have to understand who you are, why you're here. What is the problem that you solve? See, here's the thing. You have a fingerprint, guys. You have a fingerprint. Everybody has a unique fingerprint.
Mm.
Everybody has a unique identification there. There was never one like it before. There's not one like it now, and there will never be another one like that at all. You have the only one. The thing is, you also have a purpose that's singular and unique and distinct.
Mm.
And you can find that fingerprint right here. It's real easy, right? You also have to figure out what your purpose is, why you are here. What is the problem that you solve that I don't solve? There's something that you do better than I do. Every one of you. There's something that you do better than David does, something you do better than Mary does, something that's unique to you. And you have to discover that. When I take people through is 2 or 3 sessions of working about who you are, what makes you special, what makes you different. And then we can start to identify the people that you need to have around you, because we live in a more connected generation than ever through screens and phones and computers like this, but we're more isolated than ever in real life. We live in silos.
Mhm.
We live alone, and the Find Your Table is the central framework of the book called Wired to Connect. It's not about adding more people, but it's about finding the right people in your life, the
Mhm.
right people to sit at your table. If you are the smartest person in the room, and you've heard this said before, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And I found myself in some rooms, David, being the smartest person in the room. I wasn't being called up because there was nobody there to call me up. I wasn't being challenged because there was nobody there to be challenged. I was the one pouring out. I was the one always giving. Now, it's okay to give. You need to give and take with equal abandon. You
Mhm.
need to have those people around you that you're going to rub elbows with, right? Rub shoulders with. Iron sharpens iron. But if you're in a room where you're the iron and everybody else is not there yet, then you're the one constantly giving out. So you need to find people around you that you can rub elbows with, rub shoulders with, and are going to make a difference and call you up.
Mhm.
I love having what's called a 401 level conversation. Now, when you went to school, that's been a long time ago. Some of us, I graduated at 58, so I've been there a little bit later than some people have. But you have English 101, you have Math 201. I like having the 401 level conversation.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Hey, you know what? With coaches, I tell them, I'm not going to talk to you about your website. Your business cards are great, but go get somebody else to approve and talk to you. I want to talk to you about why you're here. I want to talk to you about your purpose. Who do you want to coach? Who is your avatar, so to speak?
Mhm.
Who are you looking to coach? What's driving the fear behind you
Mhm.
in your circumstance and situation? So that's where I'm coming from. I'm rambling a little bit here, but I'll let
One thing
you
you said
jump
that
in here
really
with a.
sticks out to me is when you mentioned about being around certain people. You don't want to be above, you don't want to be below, you want to be around. This is going to bring back a memory to you. Think and Grow Rich. In that book, if you want to become poor, stick around the poor. You want to become rich, stick around the rich. Stick around the people you want to become like. And because the 5 people that you hang out with the most today, 5 years from now, you'll be just like them, you know? So
Yep.
I like how you said that because that's right in the alley. Now, one of my favorite coaches that is very bold and can pull you out like this, he walked up to a guy, and I don't know how he knew he was thinking about, killing himself. But he walked up to him right in his face. I know why you're going to kill yourself. Because you got red shoes on. Now, the funny thing is the whole purpose of that was to redirect the mind. It wasn't anything about his shoes, nothing like that. It was just to be like, what? But it
Yeah.
pulled him out like this. That one simple thing pulled him out like that. Now, how did he even know that he was thinking about committing suicide? Who knows?
Yeah.
But redirecting that mind, pulling it out. So, Chip, I'm struggling right now. I don't know how to get unstuck. I've got this issue that I got going on, and I've got like 20 different people coming at me, and I don't know which direction to go. Person A says I need to be doing this. Person B says I need to be doing this. Person C says I need to be doing this. Nobody knows what I'm thinking in my mind, but I'm stuck. Who do I listen to?
David, what are you thinking in your mind?
I'm lost of which person to listen to.
Well, you said nobody knows what's going on in my mind.
hmm
So tell me what's going on in your mind. Forget person A, person B, person C. What's going on in your mind?
Well, you always want growth, and you always want more, but you also don't want to be lost. So as you're growing, you also don't want to jump the train and miss the people altogether. So in that, you're trying to grow, you're trying to move, but you also got all these different directions coming at you. And so while you're digging up and trying to pull these through, how do you sprinkle just a little bit to each person to keep them all satisfied and to get dug up out of your stuck hole?
David, it sounds like you are very concerned about pleasing other people around you.
Not necessarily pleasing, but don't want to lose either. You don't want to lose your crowd. You don't want to lose, for instance, Hollywood Video. They were real good at renting out videos. And then, streaming started coming out. They started renting videos out. And that became very popular. And then they started going into streaming. Hollywood Video says, we're not going to do that. We're just going to do videos. Well, guess what? Hollywood Video is not here no more because they didn't adapt.
Right.
So you have to adapt. You have to have your ears out, but you got to know which ones to listen to.
David, what are you scared of losing?
It's a good question. So what would you be scared of losing? Missing the train and um, missing the boat. For instance, Hollywood Video, not getting on the right direction and missing it all together.
So, what would happen, David, if you tuned out person A, person B, person C, and you went with your heart, what God's told you to do, what you feel like is the best road to take, even if it's not A, B, or C?
It would be a good way if a person was in tune to the right source.
What's the worst that could happen?
They fail.
Then what?
Start over. Now, I do have to say this, Chip. I was trying to make something up, but it was hard because then you're coming up with things, and I'm like, what would that person do? And I'm sitting there, and I'm coming up with going in circles. I'm like, oh shoot, maybe I should have used a real story.
Is that why it's not a good thing to lie? Because you have to remember what you lied about?
Well, it wasn't a lie. It was just making something up to see how it would be handled.
But
Well,
so
but then,
technically it was a a lie because it
Right.
wasn't the truth.
but tell me,
Well,
tell me what happened though. Then what were you feeling? What you were feeling like I've got to come up with. I never I never pushed you to answer a question.
hmm well,
I asked a question. What happened after I asked the question?
I guess that brings into I'm going to have to bring something true up then, right? So, speaking of which, in the description below, we have something new that we're getting ready to do. We have
Okay.
an interactive, um, it's like Zoom, but it's interactive. So while I'm talking, you can also click on different sites and stuff like that, and it's interactive. So we're actually trying new things, even in this podcast. We have another podcast that we got coming out that you need to stay tuned for. It's a debating website, or not a debating website, but a debating podcast, which is going to be really cool. And we've got some great things coming with different platforms. We are trying different platforms out to make sure that you have the best platform possible because the main purpose of the podcast is personal development for you to grow. What is the
Okay.
best way for you to grow? So you're going to see different things improving. And in the description below, you're going to see all the information about the interactive platform that you can check out. So, diving into it, Chip, let's take the scenario of the And the funny thing is, this is something that I'm constantly always working. We had the Real Talk at the Round Table. We jumped to Breaking Chains and Taking Names. Um, we went from Pal Talk. We went over to we went to another one, and then we went to Zoom, and then we're going to be trying out another platform coming up. So even with a podcast, we're constantly trying new things, and when it works, we keep it. When it doesn't, we change. We did Pal Talk about 4 podcasts, and that was it. It was
Okay.
great, a lot of people, but a lot of issues too.
Mm.
So it didn't last. That one was great, great idea. Everything did not last. The problems was not worth it. So, and as far as that goes, um, matter of fact, we even went from podcast to livecast to videocast back to livecast podcast. And we moved to 2 different platforms, and pretty soon we're going to be adding a whole bunch more. So we're
Right.
constantly trying to grow and get out there. Now, as far as all that goes, that actually doesn't have anything to do with me. There is a Hello, Kimberly. Glad you are here. There is a group of people that's constantly voting on which way we go for the best way to reach and include personal development. So, being that there's not one single person making choices, how do you get unstuck in that? Well, it's not really stuck, but how do you get well, the question was, how do you get unstuck? So, how do you get unstuck in that situation?
And what's the challenge, David? What's the problem?
Well, you want to get out there more, right? You want personal development, and you want to be able to reach more people and help more people grow.
And so the problem, as Howard Jensen used to ask all the time, what's the problem you're trying to solve?
Funny thing is the question that was asked exactly that.
Well, you
Getting
want to reach more
people,
people, but what's
yeah,
the what's
getting
the
people
what's the
unstuck so that they can grow. Like I brought up to you earlier, we are Yoda
okay.
helping Luke to find his path so that he becomes victorious, awaken the champion from inside, and release it out.
It sounds like you're asking other people to give you the answer. Is that true?
Not really looking for other people to give the answer, but looking for other people's insight so that it can be voted on and moving in the right direction.
Okay.
So we're actually, there's a lot of people that vote on it, so um, it's not
You
really a
say
one mindset.
vote on it.
Yeah. Yeah, we always vote in different directions and different things that we do, and then we come up with a plan and then vote on it, and then we do it.
And there's we. You've said we several times.
Yep.
Who is we?
Well, there's 5 of us that vote on it right now.
Okay. All right.
So,
So you're looking for input. Is it fair to say that you're getting ready to get ready, or
yeah, actually, the funny thing is we are like, we're in votes right now. We're testing out a new platform,
right?
and we're trying to vote on how to bring it into the podcast. We've already brought it into some of the other meetings that we do, and
Mhm.
we're liking how it's working. So we're voting on different ways to be able to see it come through here.
Yeah.
As of right now, we thank each and every person in YouTube. Thank you. Because their questions are brought here live. Matter of fact, we've actually had two people that brought very good questions. Aaron brought a question, two different questions, and he didn't even know it because he posted a comment. I need to think. I'm digging up a sprinkler line. So one of the questions I asked was about digging up. One of the questions I asked was sprinkling across the board. Those were
Mhm.
inspired off of his comment. So
Okay.
I try to make it interactive, try to bring them in. Well, how much better would it be for them to actually be in? And this new platform is going to allow that. So we're working on different things and just trying to vote on ways that it can actually happen. So
Here's
yes,
something.
I'm
My friend Dr. Josh Shum, we do life together. We wrote a book last year called The Influential Leader. It's on Amazon. It was an Amazon #1 bestseller. This is what Josh often reminds me. David, he says, create this for yourself. Solve the problem for yourself. Serve yourself. Build it for you. Because there's a good chance if you need it, if it's something that serves you, if it's something that's going to work, there's going to be other people that need what you have there. So when we build an intensive, we have an intensive coming up in Colorado Springs. People come from literally Puerto Rico, Oregon, Florida, all over the country coming in to spend time with. We created a 2.5 day intensive for ourselves, something that would serve us, something that we need in our business, in our lives, in our personal lives and our professional lives. And when we create it for ourselves, what we discovered is it resonates with other people. So here's what I would tell you and others who feel like they're stuck. Don't be stuck. Pull the trigger, create it for yourself, create it as it's going to serve you, and step out. Stop getting ready to get ready. That's where most people get stuck. They want one more opinion, one more input, one more spreadsheet, one more authority, one more okay, one more attaboy. The problem with that is you get stuck. Here's what Ken Coleman says. I was standing with Ken Coleman in San Antonio, Texas, a few years ago, and somebody walked up to us as we were talking, and they were talking about being stuck. They were talking about all the things that were going, all the external things that were happening. Well, this is happening over this. I can't. And Ken looked him in the eye and said something that hit me like a ton of bricks, even though he wasn't talking directly to me. He was right next to me. He said, I can't remember their name. I wouldn't call you. He said, David, you're not stuck. You've just decided to stay where you are. And what you have to do is make a decision to say, you know what? It's time. It's time for more. It's time to move forward. It's time to get up and stop leaving butt prints and start leaving footprints. And that's where most of us are in life right now. It doesn't matter if you're a mom at home, a stay-at-home mom with your kids, you're homeschooling your kids. It doesn't matter if you're in the professional community. It doesn't matter if you're retired. It doesn't matter where you are in life. Maybe you're a business owner, maybe you're a solopreneur, maybe you run a team, whatever it is. You're not stuck. You've just decided to stay where you are, and it's comfortable. It's time to get out of the land of familiar. It's time to get out of the area that's your comfort zone. It's time to climb the fence and move forward. That fence that is designed to be a protection has become a barrier for you. And it's time to climb over the fence and get out into that land of unfamiliar and go through that area where you're going to become the person that you're designed to be.
Now, Matt asks a wonderful question. I would love to answer it, but I'm not going to. I'm going to let you answer it, Chip. So, is it wrong to stay where you're at if you like it?
It depends on where you want to go. But here's the reality of it. You never arrive. John Maxwell asked me a question a few years ago. He said, on a scale of 1 to 10, as a coach, where are you? He said, a 1 is an entry level, right? 10 is top of the line. That's the marker that you go for, right? And I said probably a 5 or a 6. He said, "No, tell me." I said 5. Okay, this was several years ago. He said, "So you're a 5, and you want to be a 10." He said, "But the first thing you do is you want to be a 6." So I said, "What do you have to do to become a 6?" And there's several things you have to do. You have to grow, right? Deion Sanders says there's something wrong with a tree that doesn't grow.
Mm.
And that's fact. And so you have to continually be growing. John Maxwell is almost 80 years old, and he gets up every morning at 5 o'clock and he writes. That's what he does. He's got a system. He's got a process, and he hasn't stopped.
Mhm.
I'm 67 years, almost said 68. I'm 67 years old. I know there's more. I'm not done yet. The runway still has a long way for me to go. I'm not retiring. People say, "Well, shouldn't you retire?" I said, "Why? I enjoy what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. I read 25 to 30 books a year. At this point, I'm writing 2 books a year over the last 3 years. And so I'm continuing to give back. And that's where I am now in the legacy part of my journey is I want to give back what I've learned. And if you like where you are, I want to have another conversation with you on the side because I don't. I think you've gotten comfortable, and in life, there are other things going on there. So I would have that conversation with you, but we never get there. We never arrive. And so if we get to the plateau and everything's really good, there's another level above you that's even better. So
Mhm.
I'll call you up. And
Mhm.
I'll call you bluff, Matt, on that one. So let's have a conversation.
Now, the one thing I always like to say, and I love to use the analogy of a boat.
Okay.
We love to be comfortable. We love to stay in the boat
Right.
because comfortable is familiar. We are creatures of habit. We love to do the same thing we did yesterday.
Mhm.
Now, the question I have is, do you expect to change? Because you know that's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing you did yesterday and expecting
Right.
a different result. So if you want something different in your life, you know you have to step out. We have to step out of our comfort zone, step into that water. Now, with a coach, not only do you step out, but like in a gym, one more, one more, one more. How many one mores do I have to do? One more, one more, one more. You idiot, this is all I got. And you push and you can't go no further. The bar's about ready to drop, and then the coach picks it up.
Yeah.
A coach will take you out of your comfort zone and a little bit more because we're watching you so we can push you to your limit because we see you and we're there to help you so that you don't fail.
Yeah.
You know, that's the difference between a coach and not having a coach. So I love that, Chip, that you challenged him. Have a conversation with me. I love that because that's exactly, I agree exactly right with that.
Well, David, what I'm finding out more and more with people, and this is the premise of the new book, Wired to Connect. I'm finding I did a mastermind a few years ago when my book Your Fab Five came out, and I started challenging people. I said, "Who's in your Fab Five?" And I did a Zoom mastermind. I don't know, 30, 40 people on the call. And I asked them to write down the 5 names of people around them that were in their community. I was stunned. I got blank looks back at me as they had piece of paper and pen. Many of them, half the group, could not write one name of
Wow.
somebody that was in their corner, that was a cheerleader for them, that was an encourager for them, that was someone who would keep them honest, someone that would challenge them, call them up. Others would only have 1 or 2 names on that list. So what I would challenge most people about is to start there. I want to know who's at your table now. I want to know who's going to call you up. I want to know who you can call at 2 a.m.
Mm.
Because if you don't have anybody you can call at 2 a.m., that raises a lot of questions because the people around you are going to challenge you. The people around you are going to call you out. The people that are around you are going to keep you honest. They're going to respond to that question that life is easy and I'm comfortable where I'm at. There, that tells me a lot about people when they start telling me they're comfortable and who's around you, who's going to call you up, who's going to keep you honest, who's going to tell you what you don't want to hear. And then who are you going to call at 2 a.m. When you're down and out and you're awake and can't go to sleep because you're living in fear or you're living in anxiety? My dad died in 2017, and my mom been married 63 years. She would stay up overnight because she couldn't sleep. Anxiety, fear, worry. They had a home they built in 1972, and she was still living on my dad's retirement. But she didn't know where, my dad had always taken care of things. But my mom lived in anxiety. She lived in loneliness. She lived in fear. And she was up at 2 o'clock in the morning. How did I know that? Because she would text me and Elizabeth at 2 o'clock in the morning and this long thing. Or at 4 o'clock in the morning, you go and you see her on Facebook where she had posted something on Facebook at 4 o'clock in the morning. My mom had that anxiety, that loneliness, that fear. She didn't have the table, the people around her after my dad died, because honestly, at 84, there wasn't a lot of that people that were still around, that she was doing. But you and I have that opportunity to find the people. And that's what I like to do, is try to help you find your table. Because when you can find your table, when you find the community, you'll understand we're never designed to do life alone. And isolation is where most people break down.
Mm.
Isolation leads to destruction. And community, the right people, the right situation, the right table, is going to get you to your calling. That's where your calling is confirmed, and that's where your character gets refined. I'm part of several groups now, whether it's online or in person, to where I'm held accountable. I'm challenged. I'm a gentleman just walked into my house a minute ago, Dr. Josh Shum. We'll have a conversation at dinner tonight, and we'll challenge each other. We'll go together to go places that most people can't go with me, or I can't, and vice versa. And so we have those real conversations about life and situations and circumstances. And that's why we write together. We've got a brand new book out on Amazon called 30 Questions Every Coach Should Ask Their Clients. It just came out this week. That's why we
Saw that.
write together, because we know each other. We're around each other. We keep each other honest. And so that's my calling card today, I would think, David and Mary, is find your table. I don't care where it is. Find your table, because I've been in a room full of people and wondering if anybody actually knows who I am. I
Mhm.
started over. You mentioned starting over a while ago. I've started over more times than I can count. I moved across the country at 62. Told you I graduated college at 58. I rebuilt a career several times. I rebuilt a life more than once. And somewhere in the middle of all of that rebuilding, I discovered the thing that had been missing all along, and that was the right people at the right table.
Mhm.
So that's what I do now.
Yep.
I sit across from people, they're leaders, they're couples, they're coaches, they're men and women who've been walking it all alone. And I ask the question that nobody else has been asking. I don't have all the answers for sure, but I have learned that the right question in the right room with the right people at the right time can change everything.
Mhm. Yeah, and
I'm
it's
telling you,
powerful.
Chip, that table that you and Dr. Joshua were at, that's the table I would like to be at.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's a good
And you
table.
can. That's the beauty of it. You can. You can find your people, find your table, and that will, as I said, that will change everything
Mhm.
once you're there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you said a key thing. Finding your table. Now, that brings me up to a thing that I was going to say is mental fitness is the one thing we all need to do. We all need to
Right.
have that mental fitness, bring clarity into all the things that we got going on. A lot of us leaders or entrepreneurs or coaches or different things that's doing businesses, we have several hats. And how can
Yeah.
you find clarity when you have all these hats? There's a support system out there that is there to help you bring the clarity even in the midst of the storm so that your mental fitness stays strong. It has very few exercises that you do through the day, and when you're struggling, you do a small little exercise. It's a great program. The link is in the description below. There's a 5-minute assessment that'll kind of show you your saboteurs and stuff like that that'll really help you out. And it's really going to change your game plan when you have the support system in place. So make sure you
Yeah.
check that link. Now, the other thing I want to mention is we have a group on Fridays. It's completely free. We welcome everybody to come there. It's this Friday at 2:30 Eastern time, 1:30 Central, or is it 1:30
No,
Central?
1:30
Right.
Central.
So make sure that you come there. The link is in the description below. We also have a calendar that'll show you all the events that we do. On Alignable, there's 3 Smart Connects that we do. And matter of fact, one of them is tomorrow at noon. And that's where you can meet other business owners and stuff like that for 7 minutes. It's like speed dating for networking. And speaking of
Okay.
which, this weekend is Mother's Day. So
Yeah.
for all those guys out there, all the sons, don't forget your mother. Now, if you've seen our time clock that we had today, it was about Mother's Day. So don't forget your mothers. Make sure you support your mothers this weekend. Make it all about them. Get them roses, get them flowers, chocolates, whatever they enjoy. Make them pampered. It is all about them. They took care of you for how many years? Take care of them for one day. And by the way,
Right.
Mary, happy Mother's Day coming
Thank you,
up.
David. Appreciate that.
And so all the guys out there, make sure you take care of your mothers. And all the mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. And then that also brings me to one of the best things. Today we talked a lot about the table. And you mentioned your book about the table. I'm actually so intrigued, I have to find that book. Now, can you show that table book again?
The table book is coming out soon. It's
Oh,
not. It's not
oh,
out
it's
yet. It's
coming out
called
soon.
Wired to Connect. Now, this one I wrote last year.
Okay.
It's called Beyond the Noise. It was a #1 bestseller. Bill Brown of the Houston Astros wrote it. I wrote the forward for it. Uh, this book is what Josh and Derek and I wrote last fall. Matthew Paul, as you can see, wrote the forward to this one.
Mm.
Josh and I just wrote another book that came out this week. It's called 30 Questions Every Coach Should Ask Their Clients. I can share a screenshot with that if you can. I share a screen here?
Screenshots don't really work that well
Okay.
because it messes with the way the video is shown for the
Okay.
YouTube.
Well, here's what you can do. Go to Amazon and search books by Chip Bailey. It'll come up. It's the one that came up. But or if you want to go 30 questions, we've started a series of books, and this is the first one, 30 questions every coach should ask their clients. And that's the book that's coming out now. But that's where you are. If you want to know more about me, you can go to newbeginningstexas.com or you can email me, put it in the description if you want to. But that's Chip at newbeginningstexas.com as well, though. But love to
Your
chat with you, hear what you're talking about, hear what you need.
your website is in the description below, so anybody who wants to make it easy, just click his link in the description below. Now
Yep.
your books, they're on that website, right? The ones that you have published?
There are ones. The Wired to Connect book is not out yet, but the other books are there, and you can find links to them there. The one that just came out to Amazon on this week is not on there yet, but again, go search 30 Questions by Chip Bailey, and you'll find it on Amazon.
When you get that new book released, because you've intrigued me so much on that table book. When that book gets released, is that going to be on your website?
It will be on the website. It'll also be on Amazon. I should have a final note on the forward that'll be written by one of my great friends, who's been a singer for the last 30 years in Christian music. So, looking forward to getting that in, and hopefully the book's out by the end of the month at the latest.
Okay. Well,
Now,
you
David,
got one person that's for surely going to be looking for that book.
Good.
Is there anything now? Your website is in the description below. Is there anything else that you wanted to mention about you, about what you do, how you do it? Really speak to the audience.
I think the biggest thing, it's not about me. There's a great book called The Purpose Driven Life. The first 4 words in that book by Rick Warren says, "It's not about you." Josh Schoen, who I talked about earlier, always reminds us, take the spotlight off of you and put it on the client or the prospect or the person you're talking to. And so I always take the spotlight off of me. I don't like to. I don't like talking about myself. That's why I don't like answering questions. This has been a little uncomfortable tonight. So, but
Good
I
for
would
you, though.
say
You
if
stepped
you
out of your comfort zone.
there you go. I did, So if you'd like to talk to me, you can email me at chip@newbeginningstexas.com. I'll be happy to take your email there. I look at everything. I check my email each day and so forth. But one other thing I would like to say, we have a community of coaches. And if you're interested in joining our community, you can go to financialcoachescommunity.com. Financial coaches. We have a group of people there, and we have a Facebook page. We have calls weekly, 2 or 3 calls every week to help continue what the Ramsey team has as they go away, obviously, here in the next few weeks. But financial coaches community, me directly.
Speaking of taking the spotlight off, we're going to take the spotlight off for a minute and we're going to put it on to Kimberly Watt. It is her birthday this Saturday. So we're going to celebrate Kimberly's birthday Saturday, and then Mother's Day is Sunday.
Great.
So happy birthday, Kimberly. Now, for all the people out there, we thank you for coming. This has been a wonderful time. Chip, we were honored to have you. Thank you for coming on, and we look forward to the next time we talk with you. Now, did you have any final words to say?
Thank you for letting me be here today. I probably said too much here, but love to talk to you more. If you'd like to, give me shoot me an email, and be sure to buy one of our books and share it with somebody else. Thank you for letting me be here today. I appreciate it. Good opportunity.
Any final words?
Thank you, Chip. Appreciate it. It was a great time.
Thank you very much. Go out and leave your fingerprint on somebody else's life this week. That's my final word.
Well, thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time.